Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Super duper.
Swanee's just sliding into position with her new chair.
I know. The revelation.
Very
After
fancy.
the pokey stool.
For the better part of,
Pokey
3 years?
stool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because is this our 4th year?
it is, yes.
I can't believe
Is it?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
It
I
is
was
ridiculous.
thinking
It
about
is
the other day,
ridiculous.
Going, I
It
can't
is
believe we've been
ridiculous.
doing this for 4 years. Nearly. In October it was when we went
3.5
live.
years of ridiculousness.
I know. Aren't we good? We're stuck at something for a bit.
Well,
I know, it's because of the rewards.
I say that to my children when they give me a hard time about it. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes if you make a commitment to something, you just have to see it through anyway.
I like to rephrase that to perseverance has its own rewards.
What are the rewards other than speaking with you, lovely pair?
Yeah,
That's it. That's pretty much it, really.
that is literally it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we enjoy that, so that's
Talk
okay.
about gratitude.
I know. Every day I go to bed, every night I go to bed, and I think of what am I grateful for, and I'm grateful for you guys.
Yeah, that's lovely. Likewise, obviously.
All right. So, do we have any news in the last 5 minutes?
Pretty much none, other than I
No.
did actually manage to find my story, and I'm
Oh,
giving
good.
something away there. But that's exciting because I was getting a bit nervy for a minute there.
Nothing to worry about. So, no news. So, I guess we shall introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky, and together we are
Trial
by
Wine.
And what are we drinking? Oh,
To that
go on.
answer, once again, I'm turning wine into water.
Soda water.
I'm
Yeah.
having a beautiful, sparkling number.
Oh,
Yeah,
it does
Aldi's
look
finest.
fancy.
Yeah, it does. but it's
Aldi's finest?
Nice
I
packaging.
think it's Aldi. It might be Woolworths or one of them. Anyway,
I don't think
it's
it
quite
is.
tasty.
I don't recognise it. I know my way around the sparkling water aisles. I think it must be something.
All right,
My budget, Woolies and Coles.
right.
And
Well, that's what
Swanee,
I'm
are
having.
you
What about
still
you?
Also on the water.
Still on the water. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I have, as I promised in the last episode, cracked open a bottle of Ara Zero Alcohol Rosé. Tony's very happy because he gets a little offended that this is in our wine rack because he feels it just takes up space and it
Yes.
doesn't belong there.
Oh, you put it
So
in your wine rack.
Well, I put it in my fridge today when I thought about drinking it, but yeah,
Jeez,
generally
I
it's in
don't
the
know
wine
that
rack.
That's okay.
Did I say wine whack just then?
I feel
In the wine rack.
whack.
In the
Yeah.
wine whack.
Do you think people might think? Does Tony think that you might be trying to trick somebody into drinking a non-alcoholic wine if it's in the wine?
I think it's more that
section.
he just doesn't imagine that I'll ever drink it or anyone else will ever drink it,
No,
and
I'm
therefore
with
it's just
Tony, I
taking
think.
up space.
It's like parking in a reserved space, though. I think it belongs in the cordial rack or the not the wine rack.
But it doesn't taste like cordial.
I don't know. I have conflicting feelings about non-alcoholic wine. And I shouldn't do. I think maybe it's because I'm a binge drinker. It would
Yeah, that's a good
be
point.
problematic for me. I was like, well, why would you drink? Would you just drink for the enjoyment? Well, I don't know.
It's
gosh.
growing
I
on
get where
me.
you're coming from because non-alcoholic wine, like, does anyone really drink wine for its taste? And really, when you're drinking,
some people do.
Paul does.
100%.
There
Yeah.
you go. See,
Yeah.
I like a wine that tastes good. When I go for a wine, my immediate thinking is it's got alcohol in it and it's going to taste good.
Yeah.
There is a difficulty, I think, in finding a non-alcoholic wine that actually tastes really good or tastes like a real wine. This one by Ara, I can tell you is quite good. Although Clarky did witness me crack it open, pour it out and have my first sip where I made a bit of a face because you do have to adjust for it.
And
I think.
I will happily appear in court to testify to that too.
We're
Should I
quite
need
comfortable to
to?
say that we have so many sponsorship deals going with all these different alcohol brands. I mean, they're knocking down the doors. So if you think, oh my gosh, they're so bold to actually say something honest and perhaps
Negative
a little
about
bit
one of them.
derogatory around, just know it's because we've got so many different alcohol companies
Sponsors.
And if you
sponsoring us.
do want to
we just-
sponsor us, bring your checkbook.
I know.
All of them.
It's an embarrassment of riches.
Anyway, enough about that. Okay, so who's got a story for us?
Me.
As you alluded to when you said you found it. So go ahead.
Correct.
Tell us more.
So this one popped up on one of the many Facebook pages that I'm a part of. So thank you to the
I hope it's
person
not
who
AI.
posted that. It's not. It's definitely not AI. Firstly, I'll go to my sources. So Wikipedia,
Facebook.
all that's interesting, Follow Chain, Grunge, SF Gate, and a fantastic article in Two Oceans Vibe, which I think was written by someone named Taylor, because it didn't actually say who it was written by, but there was the name Taylor and, I don't know, lifestyle or something afterwards. So I'm assuming Taylor wrote it. If not, to the person who did, apologies, I got it wrong, but next time could you please put your name in properly? Thanks. Anyway, this is the story of Gina Grant. So has anyone heard of Gina Grant?
Not so far.
No.
Nope.
Don't ring any
Great.
bells.
Doesn't ring a bell.
It's a good start. So Gina Grant was born in 1976 in Lexington, South Carolina, Swanee.
Oh.
And so her parents were Charles Grant and Dorothy Mayfield. She had one sibling, a sister Dana, who was 9 years older.
Dana. Love that name.
Not
As
Dana.
well, you know.
Okay.
Swanee, what would you say?
Potato. I know both Dana and Adana, so I don't know which one it was. Is it D-A-N-A?
It is.
I would have historically said that was Dana growing up.
In America, though?
Dana. Not sure, actually. Because my Dana she added Y, so I don't know. Dana, but I know Adana from growing up. Dana. Is it quite
Is
a
that
70s?
Scully's Christian name from
Your
X-Files?
Dana.
She's a Dana,
Yeah,
isn't
Dana
she?
Scully. Dana Scully, yeah. But your Dana added a Y.
No, she was
D-A-Y-N-A.
Her parents gave her that, yes.
May
So she
make
was
more
Dana.
sense. I thought you meant D-A-N-A-Y. I'm
No,
like,
I would have
what?
thought that was Dana, D-A-N-A.
Okay.
But I'm happy to work with either.
But luckily, the story is more exciting than this
No.
conversation. So as she grew, she was closer to her father than her mother. So when her father passed away from lung cancer when Gina was 11 years old, her world fell apart. But more of that later. From a young age, she was admired by friends, mentors, and teachers alike.
What are you laughing at, Swanee?
I feel so bad. I do this to you guys all the time. The Dana thing, in my mind when I was off to it, she's not even the main bloody character, is she?
No, that's right. Completely irrelevant.
Sister Gina. And I was only when you came back and said about Gina, I went, oh, Jesus, Cully, you've done it again. I don't know the bloody time. I'm so sorry.
It's quite fine. It
Right.
makes for the, it adds
really
to the
sorry.
shenanigans. So, from a young age, she was admired by friends, mentors, and teachers alike.
In fairness, you didn't cut either of us off to say, that's her sister. She doesn't feature in the story.
He
Get
tried
over
to
it.
politely. He did try to politely. Went, right, well, as interesting as that is.
Yeah.
Lucky the rest of the story is more interesting.
And at the time in my mind, I thought, I wonder which version we're going to use. And then you went, Gina. And I went, oh, fuck.
I
Oh, God.
I don't think she gets another mention. But
Good. I will just part. I have to turn the piece of
Anyway.
paper over. I'll stop looking at the
We
word.
gave her some time.
We did. Well
That's
done.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. Okay, are we ready?
Dana,
I'm
to
good for
proceed?
I'm
Dana,
sorry,
Dana,
I'm
this
good
one's
now.
for you.
Yeah.
So from a young age, she was admired by friends, mentors, and teachers alike. Praised not only for her stellar academic record, but also for her relentless dedication to extracurriculars. Her kindness, it seemed, was the perfect complement to her many achievements, making her the kind of student any university would be lucky to have. And Gina had her sights set on Harvard.
Legally Blonde.
In
Reference again.
1995, it seemed Gina Grant's relentless hard work had finally paid off when she secured early admission to Harvard.
Wow.
But the
Did she have
triumph,
a 4.0 average in fashion merchandising?
I would imagine, but the triumph was short-lived.
Oh.
Unbeknownst to her, someone anonymously mailed news clippings to the university, and when they landed in the hands of the school officials, they were shocked.
That's a dog move.
So much so that Harvard quickly rescinded Gina's early admission, stating that she had misrepresented herself on her application.
Oh.
Okay, you're going to get to, I hope, what was in these news clippings. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Their decision ignited a national debate that went way beyond her case. Could a university discriminate against a potential student based on their past actions? And at
Well,
what
depends on what
point?
they were, surely. Yeah.
And at what point has a youth who committed crimes been redeemed? Was Harvard right to revoke her future, or had they denied her a second chance at life? The country was divided, and Grant's story became a flashpoint in the conversation about crime, punishment, and the right to start over. What had she done that was so bad that Harvard felt they needed to revoke
I
her
know,
admission?
right? I thought you were saying she's a golden girl.
Well,
Wow,
she
she
was.
must have killed someone. Because it would have to be murder or rape or something pretty bad.
Was it one of her siblings?
Dana.
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 Dina.
Well, I hope not after all that chat about the sibling.
Well, I'm glad you asked. Keep this in mind as I tell you the story of Gina Grant.
Okay.
So, first up, let's go back to the death of Gina's father when she was 11. So Gina was devastated at the loss, and her once bright demeanour dimmed, and grey clouds darkened her outlook.
This is very poetic. Mm-hmm.
Gina's mother, Dorothy, on the other hand, dealt with the tragedy in a far darker way. Grief-stricken and struggling to deal with the loss of her husband, she looked to blame someone, and she pointed the finger squarely at Gina.
Well, I mean, Gina did constantly offer him cigarettes
She was the one who went up to the supermarket to buy the fags.
to buy the darts.
He then
Yeah.
smoked, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when you had to get a note from your parents to say that you could buy them cigarettes?
No, but if my sister had a boyfriend, so I would have been, let's say, 8 or 9, and he was a smoker, and he was hanging out at our house one day, and I got sent up to the corner milk bar to buy, I think they were Peter Stuyvesant,
Oh, sexy. I like Pete Stuyvesant.
and he wrote a note saying, these Peter Stuyvesants are for
Yeah.
my sister's boyfriend or something, and took it up, and I I didn't even read the note. I just walked up, handed the note, handed them money, and then they gave me them, and off we went.
It's
I would
it's
have
so
been 9,
funny
I
that
reckon.
as long as you had a note from someone.
I don't know,
Yeah.
from someone. I could
Saying
have written
that
it
they were
myself,
old
although my
enough.
handwriting.
I've had lots of people who did that for their parents. I wasn't
Yeah,
one of
we
them, but
used
yeah.
to, but there was no other way of verifying it. And I guess the law wasn't that solid that, you know, if you were
And your
8
parents
and you
were
were...
so lazy that they couldn't walk the same distance that they
Well,
sent
if we
you
were-
to walk to get
if
your
we were
darts.
going to the milk bar to get whatever, which was, it was
20
a long
cents
way
of
back
lollies,
then.
which was like, let's face it, a bucket.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they couldn't drive us because, you know. But so, yeah, you could literally just
Because
give us
they'd
money.
probably been having a
piss
wine
and-
and fag time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
They were on the Mateus rosé at the time, yeah.
Yes,
If my mother is
exactly
anything
right.
to think of, yeah.
A lovely drop.
Right,
Came back into fashion not too many years ago.
back to the story. So frequently, Dorothy belittled Gina, insinuating that she was somehow responsible for the death of Charles.
That's disgusting.
Furthermore, she told
What a
Gina
mole.
that she was not allowed to display any photos of her father in the home.
Mum sounds like she's got a bit of a problemo.
She's got issues.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone deals with grief in their own way, right? But imagine saying to your kid, you can't have photos of your dead father in your room.
Probably
Like, that would
because
be...
they upset you too much. But I get it.
What about
It's
the
not
kid?
good.
Yeah, it's
Well, I don't
super
think
not
Dorothy was
good.
thinking about the kid. I think Dorothy
Well,
was only
obviously
thinking about
not,
herself.
but yeah. The weight of her mother's anger was suffocating, which was only expounded by her mother's alcohol problem. Dorothy allegedly drank herself into a stupor daily and often let her daughters alone for days on end while she entertained various male companions.
Ooh.
Now, I saw this next thing.
Put it away, Mum.
I
Oh,
just like the
no,
way we
right?
both went, ooh.
Oh, put it away,
Oh,
mate.
put it away, Mum.
Oh.
Come on. You know, 3 other people were here this morning doing the same thing.
Oh, yuck.
I made
Oh.
that up, but imagine being the kids. Anyway,
No, it's not good.
on one occasion, Gina even woke up to find one of her mother's male friends dead in the home.
Oh, my God. I was not expecting that. I thought you were going to say, like, nude or with their todger out in front of her or something.
This is not the This is not the pathway to Harvard that I was expecting. It's unusual.
Elle Woods
It is.
did not
It's
go
slightly
through this.
unusual.
It's a less traditional way.
Yes.
So, no, the bit where
This is
she
more
saw
It's
the
the alternative pathway to Harvard. Dead men in your house. Your dad being
Career
one of them, and your
advice.
mum's lovers.
either study hard or...
Was that a drug overdose, or do we know how?
Yeah, how? What?
No,
Person
so
died?
I only saw that written once, so I didn't find any
Oh, yeah.
detail of what it was, how it was, blah, blah, blah. But, it could have been asphyxiation, one of those weird kind of things.
Or alcohol poisoning.
Look, we all know you often wake up and someone's dead in the house. It could be any number of things. So,
That's right.
no
Move
point.
on.
Yeah, move on. It happens.
Don't dwell on it.
There's a dead man in the house. Okay.
We've all
Another
been
one?
there. Can we get to the interesting bit?
Yeah.
Roll him up in a rug and put him out the front.
So, a former assistant principal of the Lexington Middle School said, where Gina was a student, said that she saw things no child should see.
Mm. Yuck.
So, whilst her mother's alcoholism escalated over the years, so did her abuse towards Gina. She reportedly unleashed viciously abusive tirades on a regular basis, her rage spilling over until she ultimately passed out in a drunken stupor. Friends later recounted stories of seeing Gina with unexplained bruises and injuries, whispers of her torment lingering in the air. The situation escalated when Gina found herself on crutches after one particularly brutal beating that
shit.
landed her in hospital.
Oh, she couldn't do all her extracurriculars while this was going on.
Oh, no, right? She tried to run away twice, but both times she was caught and sent back home. And I couldn't work out if she was caught by her mother or caught by somebody else.
And I assume no social services were involved. No one was looking out for her.
Wouldn't have thought so. She probably didn't need it before her dad died. Do you know what I mean? So it was probably
No, true.
under the radar.
But she's got what'd you say, a broken leg or something?
No, she's
Yeah,
just on
yeah.
crutches. Oh, it is a broken leg, is it?
Oh,
She's
well,
on
sorry. No,
crutches.
she was on
Surely
crutches.
the school would have gone, what happened to you?
It's the 80s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I couldn't work out whether the mum caught her when she ran away or whether someone else did. I'm assuming given her mum was an alcoholic, someone else did and went, no, you should be going back to your mum. So despite all of her strife, Gina continued to thrive in school. It was like it was a sort of safe place and she could keep away from all of the stress and trauma of home and escape into her studies. And so she was heralded as a gifted student. She even served as her school's first female student body president in the 8th grade and dreamed of becoming a Supreme Court justice or a doctor one day. However, the abuse continued, and one day she finally snapped. On the 13th of September 1990, Gina got into an explosive fight with her mum Dorothy over her boyfriend, 16-year-old Jack Hook. So this is Gina's boyfriend, not one of the men that her mum entertained. Her mother had forbidden Gina to see Jack. Unable to take the control and abuse any longer, Gina grabbed a crystal candlestick holder and smashed it 13 times into her mother's head.
Oh,
shit. I thought she was going to say like a blessing over the candles, but no.
No, there was no blessing.
No.
Now, I'm going to need some crowd support here. Gina's older sister...
Dana.
arrived at the house and found it suspiciously locked.
Oh.
She called the police, who soon arrived at a disturbing scene. The 14-year-old had tried to cover up the crime, mopping up the blood and hiding the evidence in her closet.
Not very well then.
The evidence in the closet wasn't found straight away. However, Detective John Phillips described the crime scene as one of the top 3 most brutal homicides he had ever seen. It's an unfortunate phrase, isn't it? The top 3 most brutal.
Most brutal.
He would have been,
His
there are
life is
rankings.
very different to mine. I'm glad I don't have to see that every day.
To be fair, it was his second day on the job.
That's right. Yeah. Blood spattered throughout the house and Dorothy's lifeless body, with a kitchen knife lodged in her throat, painted a gruesome picture.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah. In her police interviews, Gina changed her story several times. Initially, she claimed that her mother had attacked her in a drunken rage, fell down the stairs, and then stabbed herself in the throat, exclaiming, "One of us has got to go."
It's unlikely,
Later,
yeah.
Gina claimed that her boyfriend, Jack Hook, had killed her mum.
Oh.
I saw him come running up and he had a candlestick in his hand, she said. I saw him hit her in the back of the head and then I just turned away and screamed. Jack denied any involvement and later said he knew
Gina.
nothing about Dorothy's alleged abuse. A few nights later, Gina phoned Sheila Hook, Jack's mum, to say that she knew Jack was not the killer, stating, I had to tell them that to save myself.
Oh.
This is all weird. How's that going to work for him?
She's 14.
Yeah, she is 14.
Mm.
But as soon as police discovered the bloody candlestick holder in Gina's closet, and I feel like they mean the candlestick holder that was covered in blood, not
Yeah.
the bloody candlestick
That
holder.
bloody candlestick holder.
Gina
All
could
this.
have said, they found the bloody candlestick holder. Or the bloody candlestick holder. Anyway, she finally confessed that she had hit her mother in self-defense.
I hit her in self-defense. I hit her 13 times in self-defense.
Correct. Wasn't until the 13th time she started attacking me from behind. Anyway, the case went to trial, and like we've seen in a number of previous cases, the battle lines were drawn between prosecution and defense, arguing over whether she was the victim of an abusive mother or a smart, manipulative young woman who never acknowledged her responsibility for the killing. Or, side note for the trial by wine jury, could it be both? During the trial for Dorothy's murder, the prosecution painted a chilling picture of the calculated crime, intent on portraying Gina Grant as a cold-blooded killer. In stark contrast, the defense leaned heavily on the allegations of abuse that Gina had suffered at the hands of her mother, arguing that these experiences shaped her actions. A significant turning point arose when Gina's earlier claims that her friend Jack had committed the murder case came under scrutiny. The prosecution produced damning evidence in the form of recorded calls Gina had made to Sheila, revealing how she repeatedly asserted that Jack was innocent and not even present during her mum's death. Perhaps you can understand Gina killing her mother because she was an alcoholic, abusive mother, said Jack Hook's lawyer, Stephen McCormick. But can you then justify that after the fact she tries to cover it up to the point where she callously implicates someone else and acknowledges to his own mother that she was lying? On the flip side of that, Gina's friend Christy Harrelson had this to say about Gina. Gina was a wonderful person, the best-hearted person I ever knew. And Christy was Gina's closest friend since they were both 4-year-olds in the Happy Time Nursery School in Lexington. She was very compassionate and would get mad at me if I stepped on a spider, said Christy. She was also a straight-A student, the first female president of the student body, and a cheerleader. I'm not sure of the relevance of the cheerleader, but, I don't know, cheery, happy, too, whilst
accomplished. She
wielding
did lots of
a
different
bloody
things.
candlestick.
She was an all-rounder.
She was. I think she was a high achiever. So, Gina's trouble was that her mother was drunk every single night, too drunk to cook or clean the house, said Christy, later on, when she was 19, and a student at the College of Charleston. Gina denied it even to me, and she held everything in. So she's obviously kept it all bottled in and not really spoken a lot about it. Gina began going to Christy's house after school and staying with the Harrelson family on weekends. The girls were so close that Harrelson's mother, Eileen, describes herself today as Gina's surrogate mother. 10 days before the killing, while water skiing on a Labor Day weekend, Gina confided in Eileen that her mother was out of control, going into rages. Dorothy was especially angry, she said, that one day Gina had consumed all the milk in the house. Gina said she was afraid her mother was going to kill her. Eileen Harrelson said that Gina also said she removed from the house a handgun that she had found under her mother's mattress. Gina's maternal uncle, Curtis Dixon, who has strongly supported Gina, said she was like the child of all alcoholics. She learned to become a good liar. They have to be liars to keep a secret. And that is why she lied about her mother's death, Dixon said. Gina may have believed she could lie her way out of it all, like she pretended about so many things. It was just her form of defense mechanism, which I thought was really interesting in terms of why would she have made up all those other stories, because they're not very believable, and you'd get to the bottom of them pretty quickly, wouldn't you? In terms of, was Jack there, and the mum, one of us has to go. Richard Gellies, maybe Gellis, Gelles, director of the Family Violence Research Program at the University of Rhode Island, said it's very unusual for a daughter to kill her mother, but children of alcoholics often suffer severe psychological abuse, and those children who become the most violent may have alcoholic parents who neglect them emotionally rather than harm them physically. Donnie Myers, the solicitor/prosecutor for Lexington County, said there can hardly be any excuse for what was done to that woman. Dorothy's skull was bashed at least 13 times with a lead crystal candlestick. A knife was stuck in her neck with her hand wrapped around it to make it look like suicide. He noted that a plastic trash bag was found in Gina's closet containing the weapon and towels used to soak up the blood from the floor. There's no doubt that Dorothy, who had recently remarried, was an alcoholic, he said, but the battle between mother and daughter concerned Jack, Gina's boyfriend, who was a year older but in the same class, having been held back a year because of poor grades and who had a juvenile record of assorted petty non-violent crimes. She was slipping that boy in the house at night when the mother was drunk, and there was tremendous tension with her mother over him. I found that phrase really interesting, that if the mother's drunk and often in a stupor, it wouldn't take a lot to slip somebody in, but also you're looking after yourself, so you're not really, trying to get past your caring, loving parent who doesn't want you doing things. You're going, I'm 14 and I need some level of support. The trial wrapped up in January 1991 when Gina Grant pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and received a sentence of about a year in juvenile detention. Right. After serving about 8 months in juvie detention, Gina moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts, to live with her aunt and uncle to start a new life in a place where no one knew her past. Again, she became an honours student with an IQ, they reckon, of about 150, a co-captain of the tennis team and a member of the academic decathlon, and a volunteer tutor for underprivileged children. In 1994, Gina applied to the Harvard University, as we spoke about earlier, citing in her application how she was a troubled orphan who had endured impossible hardship to come out on top, excelling in academics and in her personal life. During an interview with the university, she mentioned that her mother had tragically died in an accident in 1990, but neglected to mention that she was the one to kill her. When news broke that Harvard had taken back their offer for Gina to study there, the public and students at the university raised their voices, claiming she was being unfairly treated. After all, juvenile criminal records are typically sealed,
expunged or sealed,
young
aren't they?
offenders.
Yeah. The whole point is you're not
discrimination.
supposed to. That's right.
Yeah, so to give her a second chance to succeed. In the end, Gina quietly accepted an offer to enroll at Tufts University. Tufts officials initially refused to comment on these reports, citing confidentiality concerns. Tufts students expressed mixed reactions. There's a lot of S's in there to her admission, and media attention continued to follow Grant's case at Tufts. Multiple conservative publications criticised the university for admitting her. Tufts ended up defending its decision, stating that Gina had paid her debt to society and should not be denied the opportunity to pursue a college degree. Despite controversies, Gina began classes at Tufts where she faced support and criticism throughout. The university reiterated its commitment to helping her achieve her academic goals. That was about the last I could find. I've tried to do a bit more research about where she is today, how she's gone, but probably understandably she's dropped out of the public eye and there's no further update. But that's essentially the story of Gina Grant.
I wonder who sent the information to the...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Somebody
Probably
who's
the
not
mum
happy.
of the boyfriend that she tried to finger for it.
Yeah.
Or someone related to that family member, or someone who saw that as, you don't get to, you try to take him down, you don't get to succeed. So I just think that when they say she misrepresented herself, she didn't really. She talked about being an orphan. She talked about coming, basically dragging herself up, which is not untrue. She overcame some pretty major hardships, i.e., the death of her father and incarceration.
The accidental
murdering her
bludgeoning
mother.
was probably the point they were most
Well, I
disturbed
can
about
understand
her
why
leaving
she
out.
left that out.
I agree.
And if she hadn't left it out, it wouldn't be a story because they wouldn't have even admitted her and then rescinded the offer.
Do you think that they're justified in doing that?
No, because if the legal, and this is why I'm particularly shocked at it being Harvard Law, if the system is about rehabilitation and the whole point of sealing juvenile records is so that someone who has committed a crime when they're not considered an adult can change and be a worthwhile person in society, Harvard themselves should be the ones saying we will support that.
Interestingly, her record wasn't sealed.
But even so, she was a juvenile when it took place. They should have known. They should have said, oh, look, on balance, yes, you should have told us that, but you were a child. There are extenuating circumstances. It all comes back to, I think, really, if she had belted her mother over the head once or pushed her mother and she'd fallen and hit her head.
Yep.
And then she'd cried in the corner until the police found the situation out, not belted her 13 times, stuck a knife in her throat, put her hand around the knife, and then tried to clean up the scene and then tried to blame it on someone else. So
I don't really get all that for a smart girl if she's not acted in a very smart fashion.
I would say she was panicked a little bit at the time.
Oh, for sure. But, I mean, the idea of blaming the boyfriend, jeebus. I'm not going to have someone else go down for it. That's awful. I don't like that at all. That's where I'm more uncomfortable with it, which is awful for a mum, but I'm more uncomfortable with that. Yeah, she went a bit nuts. That's for sure. I can't judge her on that though. I don't think based on what she said.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? That's a bit of a break when someone's abused you to a point.
Correct.
I think she broke, and that's why it was such a violent thing. I'm not sure that the sticking the knife in her throat was part of the break, though.
No, that makes me...
I think that was oh, God, I've got to cover this up now.
Correct. That and then blaming then saying that she was going to... the whole thing just feels a bit like she knew that she was in a lot of trouble.
She sure did.
It's interesting to think how much of it was absolute rage and whether there was any... it's not so much premeditation, but whether she'd thought about doing it.
No doubt.
But that's...
I don't doubt if you're in that situation that you don't fantasize about killing the person who's your abuser.
And how you're going to do it and blah, blah, blah.
I'm not saying it was premeditated. I think...
No, that's what I'm saying too.
Keep going. I'm going
to grab that and clock you.
And I'm going to,
So a couple of things. I mean, obviously the horror of what she did. What do you think about the sentence?
A year.
She served 8 months.
The thing I find odd about that is not so much the sentence, but when she started her new life, it was just like nothing had ever happened. Like, back to being honor student. Yeah. And wouldn't it like take you down a little bit or just get you off kilter off your game? I find it's just like it was just some inconvenient kind of bit just to be ignored and let's move on, let's pretend that never happened.
Yeah, but she's got to live with her aunt and uncle who probably are like, let's pretend that never happened. So who wants to dwell on that and talk about it over every Sunday roast?
Yeah, no one. I don't think I mean that even so much as she got herself back on track, like in no time. Like there was wasn't even a heartbeat.
A year in juvenile detention.
8 months, wasn't it? 8 months.
Yeah, but she probably, I would like to think, although it was the 80s, that she would have got some support there.
It was the 90s, wasn't it?
1990 she killed her mum.
Yeah, it's the 90s.
Oh, it's just the 90s. But my point, it's a cusp, right? When it comes to whether or not a kid like that was going to get therapy or that's what I mean by support in juvenile detention. Well, she certainly didn't come out and become a ripper of some sort.
It's interesting because I think you're right. She certainly the 8 months certainly rehabilitated her remarkably quickly, which often doesn't happen.
But she may well have not been like when you say rehabilitated her remarkably quickly, I think it just comes down to, in her mind, how long has she thought about killing her mother, or if she just had that split-second thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do, 100%.
it's not like
I do.
a serial killer who's gone and hurt animals and hurt people, and years and years and years of this sort of stuff going on in their heads.
I reckon she'd been thinking about killing her mum for a while. I don't think that just came out of the blue, but based on her mum's behaviour.
Yeah, but I don't know if she thought about killing her in a kind of cold-blooded, I'm going to
13
wait till you're in the bath and throw a toaster in there or a hairdryer, which would have been a sensible way to do it. Like, to smash someone over the head with a candlestick is quite different, I think. It's a very violent crime.
Totally. Their head, her brain, everything. Oh, my God. That's what I can't get past.
I've had a couple of instances at work over the last
where you wanted to annihilate someone.
No, where I've had an opportunity to employ people who have violent pasts.
A record, yeah.
But not just a record, but violent pasts. And it's interesting because sometimes the people, so that there's, having conversations with HR who say it's discrimination if you take that into account, versus me going, well, I've also got a team of people who I need to protect.
Yeah. How is it presented to you? How do you know of such things? Like, is it on the record? Is it within their CV? How do you know that?
Where I live is a very small town, so it's quite easy to find out things about people.
Okay.
Do you not have to do a police record check? We do.
No,
we do a police check
That's
on everyone who applies for a job.
Yeah, no, we don't. But and it's fine. We're not looking for that sort of thing generally. Interestingly, one of them I'm very happy with where he's at, and I'm employing. Another one I didn't, and
he's going to.
I guess I'm kind of thinking of it in the context of
recidivism,
Harvard, and how do they? It's just not. It's never cut and dry. These things. It's not.
It's
like,
not cut and dry. But I think they would have felt there was a reputational risk to them.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think, and they protect their own reputation, right? That's their right to do that, regardless of whether it's best for somebody who's committed a violent crime. Sometimes I think you've got to go, I'm looking after what I have to protect, and I'm sorry this has happened for you, but unfortunately it's a no, and it's not everyone else's responsibility to make good for her.
So maybe Harvard shouldn't have rescinded on the basis that you left out a pretty crucial detail, or you misrepresented yourself. It should have been more along the lines of, with that further information that has come to light, we don't feel that you represent the values of Harvard and a problem with our, a concern for our reputation. So we have to decline you, as we would someone else in a similar scenario.
Because what if something happened during her time at Harvard that made her snap again, and then it came out that people knew about this and she had behaved like that? It's just very hard to make a responsible decision.
I know, but I think you've got to take into account the circumstances of the initial, murder. She didn't just walk home one day and her relationship with her mum was lovely and everything was great, and she just walks home and bludgeons her for no apparent reason. I mean, she had been the victim of abuse for, at that point, 3 years, and physical and psychological and emotional abuse. So unless she's getting, you might get bullied by someone else at school, and you might want to bludgeon them in that circumstance. But do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what environment Harvard would provide that would give her the same level of provocation.
Still think as somebody who is going, we've got a reputation to uphold, we do all of this sort of stuff, that just doesn't slot nicely into our criteria. I could understand why they would do that. And that there is something a little bit entitled in going, I've done this, but I expect absolutely everything to be treated equally now. There's plenty of people who...
I don't think Tina herself had that position.
What about Gina?
No.
What about Gina?
Or Gina? I don't think Gina had that position.
No, and I think that's right.
Or Dana or Dana.
Or Dana.
And I don't think she did either, but I think a lot of people did on her behalf. And it's
Fair enough.
We're just not in an
She
ideal
seemed to
world.
just want it to go away and just people to ignore her and leave her alone.
Oh, I think that's exactly right. Yeah. Why would you want that brought up again? She'd be going, that is the worst moment in my life, which either side of it has been exceptional. I don't want anyone talking about that.
No.
I struggled with what I did, but it's done. So I think she's got probably a very healthy outlook on what would be a very troubling thing to have happened, both in terms of the abuse and her response to that. But she does seem to be quite well adjusted post all of that, which I think is healthy. And I think it's okay that you miss out on certain things based on that, albeit
you murdered your mother.
Right, 13 times. Like it's a very violent way of doing
stuff,
it.
then lied. Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't think you necessarily need.
But where does it stop? So then she doesn't get a driver's license, or because she might run someone over in the car.
No, driver's license is not Harvard.
Yeah, no, I
you don't have to get.
Speaking of entitlement, a driver's license isn't Harvard.
Well, it's not.
That's the point. Yeah, but
no, but I think you would get.
What point are you considered redeemed enough that Harvard's okay?
You might not be, in my opinion.
Possibly never.
You might not be, in my opinion.
I think plenty of people would still have concerns about such a violent act being committed, because a lot of people in that situation wouldn't do what she did. And I'm not saying Gina thinks that, or she's not even arguing the point, right? She's just going, I'm going to a different uni and I'm moving on with my life and I'm walking away from the public eye. But I think a lot of people go, if that's happened, I can't have that. You know, I can't have them around me because I don't know. And that's some of the commentary I've heard about the two people I've been looking at, because people get fearful just knowing that someone is capable of that.
We're all capable of it, sweetheart.
Well, I don't know that that's correct.
We just don't all act on it.
Well,
but we're all capable. We're all physically capable of picking up a candlestick and bludgeoning someone.
No, but there's a physical capability and there's a mental capability, right? And other people would go, was it Sylvia Likens, who was the girl who got tortured by her mum over and over again? Didn't do that. Some people are just not capable of it. I don't know which category I'd fit into because I haven't had that happen, but I don't think everyone is capable of it. I think it's easy to say that. I just don't know that it's true.
I do find it interesting. You haven't mentioned it, but I've made an assumption. Is Gina white?
She is, yes.
Yeah, because I also think that there would be an additional thing if somewhere like Harvard had let her in, and then they would be seen to be potentially favouring, because she was white, that she would get away. You know, they'd be okay. They could.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It's 1990 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
90s. She did it. It'd be mid-90s, was it then? She would have been applying.
Yeah.
Mid-90s.
94
probably.
she applied.
Yeah, 94 she would have applied if she was 14.
It's 30 years ago. Do you think they cared about looking racist 30 years ago?
I don't think they care about it now.
Sorry about that, Harvard. Please don't come to us if you came to. I didn't say that.
What?
Yeah, in case
you know what I mean.
Go to accept my admission. Oh no!
Whoops. But I've got a 4.0 average in fashion merchandising.
What do I got?
Shamanism.
Shamanism. That's it. Yes.
Cert for a shamanism. Yeah.
Oh. It's very interesting, Clarky. I find this very interesting.
There's a lot of moral dilemma, isn't it?
It is. I'm absolutely floored by what she did to her mum, and I don't know if I should be, but for some reason, the ferocity of it, and then that knife, and then the blaming, I can't get past that. I feel like it went from being, I've had enough, I'm absolute, and then going, oh, what have I done, to going, oh, fuck it, now I'm on a roll, here we go. And I'm just, I don't know, something in it switches for me between doing a job and then
psychotic,
going absolutely gangbusters and then blaming everyone else for it. I don't know, that's a bit where I struggle. It's not
and
so
then
much
putting your lippy back on and getting on with your life. Like and that's not what she did, but it's quite remarkable to go that low and then straight back to success.
Yes,
she might be a psychopath though.
I would be surprised, if she wasn't.
Not necessarily that she's going to go and kill more people, but I just mean an ability to compartmentalise that.
Yeah, in a CEO kind of way, where apparently they're very good at that sort of thing.
And not all CEOs are psychopaths, but a lot of CEOs are. It over-indexes in sociopaths and psychopaths, that role. So does doctors. Yeah, so do doctors.
Yeah.
If she wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, wouldn't surprise me.
No, she didn't. She want to be like, that was the whole thing. She wanted to be like on the Supreme Court. She wanted to be, there was some quote, you know what I mean? What did she want to be? It was all this, everything was the superlative, everything was the highest and the greatest.
It was Supreme Court though, yeah.
I would like to have seen her. Did she want to go
Supreme Court judge, I think?
Yes, and let me guess.
Supreme Court Justice.
Yes, that was probably on her Harvard admission, which was, I'm not sure that there are many people who've murdered their parents who are on the Supreme Court, even these days.
It is an interesting conundrum, though, from a professional point of view. Do we want to be teaching someone like that to get in? Because is she already compromised? I don't know. It's complicated.
Maybe I'm being too judgy and think she's allowed opportunities, but only, limited opportunities, which maybe that's my problem. I'm happy to admit that. But there's something that doesn't sit. I'm very judgy, and something doesn't sit quite right with me.
You can have a driver's license, but you can't have Harvard.
You can have. she can have a driver's license.
Oh, that's fine. It's not Harvard. The bludgeoning's one thing. It's the knife in the throat.
Yeah.
Even like 13 times. That's.
Oh, I guess her arm. I just did 4.
What does it take? 10 seconds of absolute...
It's the bludgeoning workout, isn't it? It's like, oh, no, I only do 3 reps.
Yeah, but what do you do with the other arm? That's where you do the stabbing in the throat with the other arm.
The other story that I did in the car park where he trained to be a killer at the gym. Remember?
In Melbourne.
Yeah.
Bloody Melbourne.
Bloody
training
candlestick.
to be a murderer.
Any sentences or...
I don't know.
I'm really not sure. I feel like it's a bit of a mess.
I mean, she should have her pants set on fire for the lying, I think.
Yes, there we go.
Oh, she got her offer from Harvard rescinded, so I think that's the punishment for that.
Look, it's not like she's not going to have
I think the traditional punishment
career
is setting pants on fire.
She'll have a life. She just can't perhaps go to the most esteemed
she won't be Supreme Court
university
justice
in the land.
But I'm pretty sure her conviction would have stopped her being a Supreme Court justice anyway.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. And this idea I would put money on the fact that she probably would have had that as part of her spiel, as to get into, I'm an orphan, I'm this, and I've got the highest aspiration. I think that I'm capable of, so I want to become a Supreme Court judge. And it's like, okay, wouldn't the story have been more accurate if it's like, I wonder if it's possible that someone who's done something like I have, and I'm working to be redeemed, that could have been the story. You know what I mean? Do you think it's possible? Can I make good?
Maybe her career advisor should have said to her, if you want to be a Supreme Court
Give
justice...
Tufts a call, Toots. Yeah. Sure, they'll take you. Tufts to me sounds like, I know it's not, but it sounds like, is it Crufts, the dog?
It does sound like
Crufts.
Yeah.
I know it's not, but yeah. It sounds like try the dog.
Admissions officer has looked
Crufts.
at it and gone, that's for Tufts.
Yeah.
This one, UCLA,
Yeah.
Just deciding where you need to go. Not Harvard, not this time. All right, well, that was a weird one, but good. I mean, at first I was going to say no one died, but then, of course, Dorothy did.
So did Dad.
Oh, well. Yeah,
that's true.
It was her fault.
But it sounds like Dana came out unscathed.
Oh, no, she got in the house. She got the unfortunate...
Dana
she got to see the aftermath.
Yeah, I wonder what Dana reckons. Dana
Dana would say my sister killed. Dana said, I should be allowed in Harvard. I'm the victim here. My sister murdered my mother.
I'm the real
I just don't
mastermind.
have 150-point IQ. Oh, she might have. We don't know anything about Dana/Dana.
Correct.
Anyway, all right. Well, good one. And on that note, as we say every week, miss you already.
Ciao.
Ta-ta.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.